Hi everybody, it's Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I am here with an update video for my writing process and a little bit of a life update. So let's jump into it. The last time I sat down and did one of these was about 2 months ago, and it was not the most positive of check-ins for my writing or for my life in general. I cried a lot in that video. I don't think I'm going to be crying today, but again, things change with me. You just never know. So, first, a little bit of just an update for you on life in general before we jump into the writing portion of this update. I want to thank everybody so much for the continued support and encouragement and love and kind words that have been coming my way in the process of this job hunt. Today is August 24th when I'm filming this. I've been without a job since September 7th, so going on a full year, and it has not been easy. In that time, I job hunted because I thought I wanted to be a librarian, and then I realized librarians in my area were not making nearly enough money and that I needed to have a master's degree. The master's degree obviously would require me to go back to school, take out loans, have student loans again, which I just paid off in February from when I went for my bachelor's degree. And the pay scale for a librarian with a master's was less than I was making nannying. So it just didn't make sense, but it was kind of a bummer because it was something that I had been thinking of for a really long time, and I was really upset to not be able to come to fruition, so I had to kind of accept that. And then I went, what else can I do? I would love to edit. I would love to help other people with their writing. And so I started Quills and Keys, and Quills and Keys has been successful in that I've reached some really great clients. I've worked with some really amazing people, but I'm realizing that not everybody maybe is as dedicated to daily writing as I am or as strict on their own deadlines as I am. And I just can't rely on that kind of income to come in a timely fashion in terms of my bills and my life. So I'm going to continue to do Quills and Keys. Nothing about this update is changing the fact that I am still going to have an editing business. I will still be so thrilled to work with whatever authors come my way. But I'm not going to make it a full-time thing. I'm not going to try to make it something that can support me because right now it's just not feasible. If I build enough of a client base and my name gets out there enough and I start getting more editing jobs, then that might change. But for right now, it's going to be something that I do in my spare time or that I dedicate hours to every day when I have clients. And that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to that still, but I can't make that my sole source of income. So I went from no librarian to trying this editing thing and it not working in terms of financially supporting me to then going about 2.5 months ago, hardcore job searching and going on interviews and just throwing my resume out multiple times a day, like all the time, and it breaking me down. And then I had a full-blown meltdown not too long ago because I ended up putting my resume back up on a website for nannying and for childcare, and I really didn't think I wanted to do that again. I thought that it felt like taking a step backwards. It was really difficult for me to kind of come to grips with the fact that that might be what I have to do. It means that I am the sole employee, the only one that's being relied on to provide a service. I don't have an office around me where I can call out if I'm sick. I don't have backup if I need help on a project. And that's really hard. And especially when it comes to the care and well-being of children and the functionality of a family and a household. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a nanny a lot of the time. And I didn't know if I wanted to do that. I really wanted to have somewhere that would give me benefits and a 401k and health insurance. I've been paying for that out of pocket for 10 years and it's really expensive right now. So it wasn't ideal for me to go back into this kind of a situation, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. I have tentatively accepted an offer. Today's Friday. I'm getting the final paperwork from a family on Sunday to go over the fine details of what is expected of me, what I expect of them. I found something that I think is going to work really well. I've spoken with the mom several times now. I met with the family, I met with mom, with dad, the two kids, and they're absolutely delightful. They're so, so sweet. And you guys know that before, when I was nannying, you're not going to see those kids. I'm not going to really talk about those kids. Obviously, I don't even know at this point if they know that I make any kind of content. My last family did. That stays completely separate from here. But I will say that this is pretty ideal for me in terms of having spent the last year at home and being a caregiver for my grandmother, whom I live with. I was really, really worried to be out of the house for 8 hours at a time and away from her. And nannying can often be very irregular hours, and it can often be a lot more than 8 hours a day. And that made me incredibly, incredibly nervous. But the way that this kind of schedule is going to work itself out with this family on days where the kids aren't sick or on vacation or home is that during the school year, I'm going to be there between, say, 7 and 9-ish to get them ready and off to school. And then I will have a break in the middle of my day from the time I get all that done until around 1 or 2 in the afternoon, when I would go back and do any kind of like errands or house stuff, or, you know, straightening up of the kids' rooms, and then starting the afternoon of like pickups and activities and homework and dinners and all that. So basically my hours would be like 7 to 9-ish, and then 1 to 2 to like 6 to 7, where I could come back to my house, check on G-Mom, make sure she's had lunch, make sure dinner's kind of prepped, get her to any doctor's appointments. It also allows me time to come back in the middle of the day and work on any editing that I might have to do. It allows me to maybe do some filming, possibly reading or something. A lot of freedom in that middle part of the day, which I think is going to be the best of both worlds for me at this point. I really am excited to work with this family. After a long road and a long process, I think I found something that lets me still do my writing and editing, which I'm very passionate about, and then also caring for kids, which you guys know I love doing, and hopefully finding like a happy medium between not feeling guilty being away from a woman that I love and want to take care of, and then also having to like bring in income. So I think it's going to be a really good fix. I knew if I went back to nannying, it would have to be something like this that was 100% ideal, made too much sense to not do, and this makes too much sense to not do. They're also very, very close to me, so like location-wise, they're less than 10 minutes away from my house, which is very, very convenient. That's my happy news in terms of that, and I'm really, really glad. Much better headspace. I'll be in a much better headspace after I like officially accept the job and see everything that they send over. So just thank you so much to all of the love and support that you guys have given me through this process, because it's been hellacious and really, really difficult. I've cried more during this time period than a lot of other time periods, and you guys have tolerated that, so thank you. On to the writing update portion of this, I wanted to share with you that you guys know I have already written my first draft of this book forever ago. I wrote it last year in a couple of months, ended up not liking it the way it was. I ended up, after the fact, deciding that I wanted to age it up from YA to new adult and move my characters from high school to college or post-college, and just kind of see how that worked. I thought that that worked a lot better for me. I also knew that I wanted it to be an urban fantasy. At the end of the day, I got to the end of multiple rounds of edits before it even went to beta readers or anything like that. I'd done peer edits with Amber. I'd done, you know, a couple people knew the storyline, and it was just not fantastic. So I realized that simply aging these characters up was not going to make it the book that I wanted it to be. I also, when I started writing book 2, realized, like I've discussed before, that book 1 read a lot like a contemporary, book 2 read a lot like a fantasy. There wasn't enough crossover, and I found myself realizing that those people that hated the Hazelwood because it was like too contemporary and then too fantasy and it was too divided, they were going to hate my series, because that's a lot of how it felt, and I did not want that. And I didn't want that for my characters, and I didn't want that for my book, and I want it better. So I put aside 106,000 words and said, "Ya garbage." And they're in giant binders up in my closet, relegated to a shelf that I don't want to look at right now. And I rewrote the entirety of that book. So I probably ended around 97,000 words on the first draft of that book. And then I added to it as I rewrote and tried to age it up. And I got to like about 106,000 words. And so I sat down and I didn't take anything from that original write. I rewrote entirely. The plot changed, the twist changed, the villain changed, the world changed. The characters stayed the same, but characters that you don't meet until book 2 started coming into book 1, because I had to create this urban fantasy world, and book 2 was very fantasy based, so I had to bring some of those characters over early and kind of build them into the storyline of book 1, and it changes a lot of what I had for book 2 because I had already started writing book 2 and was about 50,000-60,000 words into book 2. That's going to entirely change because book 1 changed, the villain changed, the ending changed. All of that to say, I have an ending for this draft. It is done. I ended this draft at like 96,958 words, so like 97,000 words, just about where my first draft ended on the first go round. I have a lot of reworking to do. Because I knew the characters and a lot of what was going on really well, I ended up focusing a lot on plot because this was an entirely new plot. And I have to go back in and flesh out relationships. I need to flesh out friendships, like maternal family relationships, put more interactions in there. I may go back and look at my first draft and see the parts that I really, really loved and the interactions between characters that I really loved and see if I can't work them into this round a little bit more for like relationship building. And unlike my first time around where I put this away, I put the book away for like a month and I didn't touch it, I'm going to go right directly from finishing the book last night to today sitting down and working on the fleshing out, because I literally just have in all bolds, like, fill in this relationship, fill in this plot, like, fill in this plot hole, like, da-da-da-da. I'm going to go in and fill that all in right now. And then I will put it away for about a month and let myself have a break and see the way that that works. My goal is that by Contemporary-a-thon, I'm done with the fleshing out of everything that I left holes for in this draft, and I can put it away, focus on the new job, focus on the Contemporary-a-thon, and then come back with like a fresh mind to like actual first edits. And I'm hoping that this gives me an opportunity to get into beta readers, kind of letting a couple people read it and give me feedback before I do another round of edits, and then start pitching, because I do want to try to get this traditionally published, but it needs a lot of work. So I know you guys get so excited and you're so invested in my writing process, and I love that, and I feel like I've been a little bit more closed off on sharing how this rewrite has been going because I was so open on the first one and then it tanked. A lot of the doubts that I had for the first book are gone. New ones have replaced them. I always at the end of my book start wondering if I just have the dumbest idea for a book ever. Somewhere around 95,000 words and I see the end coming and I'm like, this is garbage. Why am I writing this? Nobody wants to read this. I know it isn't. I know people are excited about it, but I have more work to do post the end on this book than anything else I've ever written. I have a lot of work to still do in terms of editing and still writing and still having a ton to get done. It's not a quick process. There's a lot that needs to go into this. Like, I feel like the hardest part of this particular book is still to come, and that getting out this first draft, which is incredibly messy, is like the easiest first draft I've ever done, because I knew roughly plot points, I knew roughly, you know, not roughly, I knew the characters very, very well. This was the easiest writing process for me. I made my last video telling you that I was gonna give myself some time and then start writing it. In mid-June, 2 months, I wrote an entire first draft. Like, I wrote 97,000 words. Not the fastest writing in the whole entire world, but not the slowest either. And so now the real work goes into really making sure that it's a fully fleshed out and conceived story, and then I will let it set aside, go back in and do line by line and really look at continuity and storyline and plot and what I have to change and what I need to move around. But at least I can say I've done a first draft. I've done a first draft now 3 times. The original first draft, the re-aged first draft, and then the complete rewrite. So this book has been written 3 times already, which is insane that I have fully written this book 3 times. I'm really, really happy with this one, and I'm really excited for you guys to be able to read it. I know you're really excited to be able to read it. It's going to be a long time before then. Just know that at least I didn't quit. I didn't fall to self-doubt. I got this rewrite done. If you're wondering how much of this was easier because I had another draft to go off of, none of it. I really just wanted to sit down and update you because my last update video was not a positive one. I was riddled with self-doubt in so many areas of my life. Even though I don't have like a 1000% confirmed new job as of filming this, and I don't have a 1000% ready first draft, I at least have marked progress. I have something to show for all of that crap that I went through. My battery died as I was doing my little outro, so I'm just going to say that if you were interested in my writing process or how I go on from here, definitely do follow me on Instagram. My links for social media are down below. I always update you guys there as much as humanly possible. And if you have any questions about my writing, editing, rewriting, what made me do that, etc., anything about my process, definitely leave the question down below and maybe I'll do like a writing Q&A. So if you have any questions about plotting versus pantsing, the difference between the two different drafts of this, I think that's something that would be really fun to talk about and do another little author video on. But if you have any specific questions, definitely leave them down below and I will maybe compile those into that video, because it's something that I would like to talk about now, having done both of those things. And for now, that is my life and writing update. Again, thank you guys so much for the support. It has meant the actual world to me. It has been so uplifting to have that here when I've been feeling really low. So thank you so much. Here's to better days, more exciting things, a lot more work in my future, a lot more time management in my future, but a lot more smiles and a lot less financial stress, but probably more stress, but that's fine. It's all good. I think that's it for this video, but if you liked it, be sure to give me a big thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and welcome to my bookish friends. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.